Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. I'm your host, Jess, still viewing and reviewing the soapiest, sudziest primetime storylines of 1985. We're back on the West Coast doing the absolute most. Yes, this is a double scoop of Falcon Crest. So whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell babe no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 35 minutes. Everyone else in earshot, you can be cool, you can be quiet, or you can get out. Period. Because we are watching our stories. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soap Lore. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soap Lore. I hope you are ready. Oh boy. This is one thing I like about soap operas. Nighttime, they're not going to waste your time. It's not going to be a 16-week drawn-out conversation about one single kiss. We are moving forward with the absolute quickness. So go ahead and pour yourself up something bubbly and bright. I have my can of a non-disclosed beverage. It might... Go ahead and crack that open as quickly as possible, baby, because we got to get into it. We are watching season 5, episode, is this 11 or is this 12? I think this is 11. Season 5, episode 11 of Falcon Crest, Strange Bedfellows. When last we left, the artist formerly known as Permrod Goddess, aka Kitty Perm, was left standing not quite at the altar. See, what had happened was she had just gotten dressed. She just put on a full-length white gown with white silver sequin accents so that she could marry Peter Stravos, a man who had been pining for her since she was 16 years of age. Only to receive a telegram, not a phone call, not even like a letter, but a telegram, which I guess is respectful in 1985, stating that Peter was, quote, not in love with her. Not a real quote, pardon me. Basically, Peter said he ain't coming because he does not love her. Now, most brides would be devastated. Angela, like I said in the last episode, seemed just a little bit pissed off that she got all the way dressed for this. I'm sure she was wearing a slip and nylon pantyhose, all to strut downstairs for absolutely nothing. Now, by the grace of God, she wasn't in front of a big audience. She had invited all of her closest enemies. Everyone she hated with a passion was invited to witness this unholy matrimony. But you know what is not happening? But you know what is happening? All 3/3 of Falcon Crest are back in her name. So at the top of this episode, we find Lance being quite noble. He is doing what a good grandson would do. He is on the phone demanding that somebody pick him up in a banana boat, a rowboat, an inflatable boat, a tugboat. He don't give a damn. Get him on a boat, because he knows for a fact that Peter Stravos can't be more than 10 miles off the shore. He wants to pull up on Peter and beat his ass. He wants to become the real live Aquaman. He has time today because you know what? Nobody embarrasses his grandmother like that. He's pissed. Emma is trying to be the voice of reason in the background, saying like, Emma wants to call the authorities because clearly Peter is way too in love to stand up Angela. She isn't buying this for a minute. Chow Lee is not saying anything, but he doesn't seem to be against Lance's plan of beating the dog mess out of Peter Stravos. I love that Lance isn't a respecter of age. He's like, I don't care. You embarrass my grandmother, I'm going to stomp you out. Angela says, not so fast. Men chase me. I don't chase them. I refuse to look for a man who don't want to be found. Amen. Besides, I'm back, baby. I own all 3/3 of Falcon Crest. Do not mumble or speak or yell Peter's lame ass name in this house ever again. I'm witnessing this next scene through new eyes. I want to shout out Byron again for letting me know that because of the popularity of Dynasty, the other shows had upped their ante. It's abundantly clear that Jordan, I guess I can't say it's abundantly clear, but it is very clear that Jordan is meant to be, your eyes are meant to stay on Jordan when she's on the screen. She could be at the Miss America pageant right now. She could be hosting the Grammys. She's over the top. She is pageant pretty. She is sparkly, and everything else in the restaurant is muted by comparison. especially the next female character who was introduced to Falcon Crest. One thing I will say about Falcon Crest, they never disappoint me when they introduce a villain. They don't leave a lot to the imagination. They want you to know this is a good guy, this is the bad guy. We're going to use the old Trump trope. Jordan is appearing as a damsel in distress in this scene, while everyone else is either a supervillain or a demi-villain. And I think we got our first minion of this season. So, while at dinner, the Manimal and Jordan are surprised by Jordan's daddy and some sickly looking woman with a Kris Jenner. While at dinner, the Manimal and Jordan are surprised by Jordan's daddy and some sickly looking woman with a Kris Jenner haircut, not the new one, like an old Kris Jenner haircut. I'm not even gonna lie. This woman looks like Wednesday Addams. She raided Wednesday Addams' wardrobe. She looks like a cholera patient on the Oregon Trail. She looks like a corpse from 1878 brought back to life. Matter of fact, I'm going to be honest with you. The more I look at her, the more I can think this woman looks like Edward Scissorhands. She will henceforth and forevermore be known as Edwina Scissorhands, the minion of Jordan's evil daddy. If we see her again, if we get to see her again, that is. She didn't really talk this episode. I don't know if she's drugged. I don't know what her problem is, but she is mad creepy. She is a complete opposite in every single way to Jordan. Jordan got the big bouffant blonde hair that is 7 inches off of her forehead. This girl has short, chopped black hair that is shaved down. Jordan is in a sparkly white, no shoulder, boobies out type of evening gown. This girl, like I said, is dressed exactly like Wednesday Addams. Anyway, we need to figure out if Jordan's daddy is a perv or not, but I am uncomfortable with his presence nonetheless. J.J. Roberts, a.k.a. Jordan's dad, a.k.a. not Marla Maple's dad, is a big fish. And Greg is all of a sudden feeling himself. And I think in this episode, this might be the intro to his full-on villain era. Jordan's dad tells Jordan that he and her mother were discussing over breakfast why they don't ever see her. It's so strange. And she's like, it's not really strange. I keep up with you all just fine through the gossip columns and the society papers. I'm not missing anything, and I shan't be attending breakfast, lunch, dinner, Christmas, Kwanzaa, 4th of July, Juneteenth, Grandparents' Day, Arbor's Day, Armistice Day. Don't look for me on any holiday or any day that ends with day. And her daddy's like, dang, it's like that. She's like, it's still like that. The Manimal is not reading the room in this episode. He's kind of annoying. He hops up. He's all too eager to shake the guy's hand. He is not clocking that Jordan is clearly uncomfortable. She goes from warm to ice cold. He's not picking up on any of that. But like I said, he is suddenly feeling himself. He's remembering his aspirations, all the aspirations he had before he started working for Little Perm, a.k.a. Kitty Berm, Angela Channing. So the next morning, he brings it up to Kitty Perm that approximately 379 days ago, some old lady with a Christopher Columbus Spanish conquistador haircut came strutting up to his horse barn and promising him help with his political career. Matter of fact, this woman with the Christopher Columbus Spanish conquistador haircut promised him that she would make him not only a political juggernaut, she would pay him $30,000 a month. Seems like she kept her word about the pay, but not about anything else. So he starts name dropping Jordan's dad, JJ. I can't remember the man's name. And Angela is like, ugh, that guy is the dude who cosplays as like a big shot. What you talking to him for? Gregory, excuse me. Yeah, God, not me excusing myself. I forgot that was his government name for a split second. Gregory, a.k.a. the Manimal, educates Angela on his current state educates her on his current status. You see, Angela, I am now dating JJ, I'm drawing a blank. I am dating JJ's one and only child. I'm very, very intimate with his daughter, and JJ seems to think I would make one hell of a lieutenant governor. So either you jump on board or maybe I'm jumping ship. Just like your fiance. He doesn't say that. I wish he would have. It was a golden opportunity. Writers, you missed an opportunity there. Angela's like, okay, I might consider pondering it at a later date. Greg perks his ears up. He's like, I'm sorry, what? You said what? She said, I said I might consider pondering it at a later date. I will think about it, okay? Calm down. Meanwhile, on Maggie's front porch, Maggie is in all white and Terry is in yellow. I forgot to mention at the top of this episode, the color of this episode is white or white adjacent, i.e. cream, bone, anything very, very light. So Maggie looks like she's dressed for winter. Terry looks like she's dressed for summer. They're having a delicious breakfast. Terry is enjoying the book even more than the brekkie. Apparently the book, Maggie's Over Easy Egg Brain Road. Scandalous child. Sorts of lovers and whatnot. Aunt Terry is gleefully. She's like, "Woo, child, girl." When you sit down and write this, what is this? Aunt Terry, who knows a thing or two about sexy time, says, "Girl, this book is a problem, baby. I can't wait for the movie." The characters are quote unquote loosely based on real life Valiantites, and it's very clear to anyone who's reading it who's who. Terry says, "Now, what does your chesticle loving husband think about this mysterious lover you got in this book, girl? Oh, this finna be messy." No sooner than she says that, out comes Chase. And Maggie's like, "Shut up, girl. He hasn't read it yet." Terry's like, "Oh, girl, I can't wait for the movie." She saunters off, leaving the audience and Chase none the wiser about what's going to happen when he reads it. Actually, we already know what's going to happen. He's going to pop off per usual. On the other side of town, Apollonia and Lance are chatting about Walker when he enters the office unannounced to congratulate Apple, which I hate as a nickname for her, and the sudden success of the radio station. Walker has some ideas for a music video. He's just dropping this and that and that and this. And Apollonia is all too eager to get this video shoot under the way. Now, Lance is hearing all this. He's feeling like an appetizer instead of the entree. Why is she all into this guy? Didn't she tell me he was a bum or whatnot? Lance, ever his grandmother's grandson, tells both of them to get the hell out of his office. He's tired of hearing all this jaw-jacking about videos and freaking wardrobe and concepts and stuff. He's also sort of thinking to himself, there's no way that this bum has more ends than me or more connections than me. Otherwise, Apollonia would have been a huge star a long time ago. Or can we just say, maybe she's not that talented? I'm not saying she's not that talented. I'm just saying that is in the realm of possibility. So back at Falcon Crest, Angela's not wasting any time. She's had a very rough week. She's had her fiance dip out on her, which is a non-factor. It's kind of a moot point because she got the land back. So let's count that as a win. But her daughter is rolling in the hay, or not even in the hay. She's rolling in the back seat with some corn-fed dude who drives a truck. Her nephew has once again outsmarted her. Now he's taking her clientele. She's got to get back on track. So she does what any sensible person does. She reached out to the Kellogg family to have them come in and fix the situation up. I think these people are fixers. So Kellogg's, not the Frosted Flakes, one of the reps for the company shows up, and it's a lady, and Angela's internalized sexism is dimmed long enough just to get a little bit of business done. Operation something for that as Destroy Chase's Vineyard is underway. Lady Kellogg walks into Angela's study, and she's got on a black outfit and a black sun hat, hair tucked up in it. Thank you, Falcon Crest, for not leaving anything to the imagination. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think it is safe to assume that this woman is going to be a villain, or if nothing else, a do dirt minion. I'm really excited to have two minions introduced, but can we please bring back the original baddest of the baddie minions, Leather Pants Pam? I'm going to start wearing leather every day until I see her back on this show. Anyway, Lady Kellogg is a terrible actress who vows to find a morally gray do-dirter who works as an employee at the Valley And if they can't find one, then they'll make one. Lady Kellogg will turn him out herself. She promises this to Angela. Now, Angela's ears perk up. She suddenly realizes that this broad is a baddie. She says, you know what, bitch? I like your style. Forgive my attitude earlier. I'm old. I'm sexist, even though I'm a woman. It is what it is. I didn't think you could complete the task because you were abroad, but I forgot. Maybe they still make them like they used to. Okay, I see you. I see you, Kellogg. Lady Kellogg follows through with her plan. She is indeed a bad bitch. She corners Mr. McLish, real name, who is a county inspector. He goes around looking at all the leaves at the vineyards to make sure everything is everything. So she corners him one day while he's minding his own business at work, trying to have a ham sandwich or whatever on lunch, and she makes him cooperate. Angela's plan is very simple. Angela wants him to quarantine Chase's vineyard because of mealy moths. Now, can I spell mealy moths? No. I spelled it just perfect enough so that I could regurgitate it back to you guys. Did I look them up? No, I definitely did not. She wants mealy moths on his property. She wants him to quarantine Chase's property because of those mealy moths. Only ain't no mealy moths on Chase's property. McLish quickly points that out. Angela's like, don't be dense. There will be mealy moths on his property by Tuesday, right? McLish is like, yeah, I guess so. So she has a checklist to keep, and she also has a schedule to keep. No time to waste. Later, she talks to Corn-Fed Jed about becoming a businessman. You want to marry my daughter, right? My daughter is used to a certain lifestyle. How's your lifestyle? What do you like about that? He says that he enjoys an honest day's work, the road, and coming home to a quote unquote warm woman. Not warm bed, warm woman. I'm like, okay, so you just like a live one. Great. I'm glad to know he's not a necrophiliac. Angela offers to buy him a business if he leaves the valley. Why don't you get the hell out of my life and my face, and I'll make sure you are the most successful, sleeveless, mullet-wearing truck driver in all of the Southwest. Dwayne tells her no and to get the hell away from his vehicle, and then he immediately tells Emma, and they confront the artist formerly known as Permrod. She doesn't deny offering to buy him a business if he leaves Emma. She claims that it was a test to test his loyalty, and he passed with flying colors. Emma and Dwayne, a.k.a. Corn-Fed Jed, fully believes this. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Lady Kellogg's drops off a jar or two of mealy moths upon Chase's vineyard. Whoever has an English degree, make that make sense. And then they, the ish out of all of Chase's hopes and dreams once again. Of course, Inspector McLish, who is now Angela's McBish, shows up for an impromptu visit and rains all over Chase's hopes and dreams. The aviator Adonis, in all of his beauty and glory, immediately jumps into action. Clavicle on full display, chest hairs groomed to perfection. The same day that Dwayne, a.k.a. Corn-Fed Jed, tells Emma that he will sell the truck once they get married, because whether he admits it or not, Angela did get into his head. Emma is accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle, and he wants to keep her as eager to please, I suppose. He wants to please her back. And he decides that he's going to sell the truck once they get married so he can stay put. And Emma's like, baby, don't you dare. You're going to ruin all of my explicit fantasies. You'll drive and I'll ride. Ain't love grand? It's a beautiful thing. Speaking of love, or not really, Richard is apparently wanting to marry Cassandra. And Jordan, with her perfectly teased hair, is like, dude, you're doing a lot. You don't feel bad about dragging this out? This girl honestly wasn't even trying to ruin your life like that. She explained that you had a psycho parent. I have a psycho parent. You have a psycho parent. Can you cut the girl some slack? This is a lot. You're doing way, way too much. Now, he denies it, but Jordan basically says you're protesting too much. Whatever that saying is, one doth protest too much. That's you, homeboy. And he's like, one doth tease their hair too much, but I mind my business, so you mind yours. As they're in the middle of this conversation, Maggie bursts into his office. Maggie is in her I need to stunt era. I love scrambled egg brain Maggie. I absolutely love the thought of her soft-boiled brain being a lot looser this season. She's like, I am gorgeous. I can dress. I got a haircut, and I need y'all to see me in every single scene. So she comes in basically wearing a comforter sheet or a duvet cover off of a bed that has been fashioned into some sort of, my brain is stalling on me. I don't know if you would call it a parka because it's not necessarily the right material, but it is way too thick to be a simple cardigan. It is not quite the right material to be a coat. So she's wearing a duvet with sleeves, and it is freaking fabulous. Mind you, these people live in California. I know the water coming in off of the bay is chilly, but it ain't like that. Anyway, the only reason that Maggie comes through in this scene is to remind us that the colorway for this episode is white or white adjacent, and she is wearing cream. When she comes in just to tell Richard that no one else wants to read this book. It's very, very bad for business. She really just wanted to be seen. She put on a fly outfit and remembered she had nowhere to go. She's like, let me go cuss out Richard real quick. Jordan tells Maggie that although she looks fantastic in her sleeping bag realness, that Richard has a contract with the publishing company, which make sense because he's not the author. And she says that he can't back out of it. So Maggie, I'm going to need you to calm down. Maggie only showed up to stunt in her fly outfit. So mission accomplished. The rest of the conversation is moot. So later, Richard is chatting with a very pretty light pink Cassandra post-coitus. It is so heartbreaking that this man is incapable of love, I guess. I don't know who he loves or who he doesn't, but he is very, very convincing. Hell, I almost bought it. Cassandra is totally drinking all this in. She thinks that all has been forgiven. She thinks that he actually understands her. She loves him. She loves being around this 6'4", cane limping, warm milk drinking, tummy time having, toy soldier, toying man. She loves him. And she tells him she has a spectacular wedding gift for him. I'm pregnant, Richard. I'm going to have your child. Richard turns into one of those hood rats on Maury Povich. He starts talking to the camera. His shirt is open. I'm not even exaggerating about the shirt being open. So just play along with me, okay? He opens his shirt. Actually, he just doesn't finish buttoning up his shirt. He talking about, I'm not the daddy. I'm not the daddy. He's running over to the screen, pointing at the kid that looks exactly like, this ain't my baby. Stop playing in my face, Cassandra. How dare you? She's just like, yo, hi, who are you? Who is this? I don't know who this is. He says, Cassandra, how dare you come in my face and play? I done put up with a lot of stuff with you, but what I won't put up with is this. I've been had a vasectomy. She's like, lies, because I am absolutely pregnant. I certainly wouldn't be ruining my body for nothing else. And this is your baby because I have been with absolutely no one else. So you're tripping. Well, listen, if she thought he was tripping, then he ups the ante. He's like, clearly she don't understand what I'm saying. He talking about, you bankrupted me. You humiliate me. Now this, I wouldn't marry you for all the money in the world, hussy. I was playing your country ass this whole time. I don't even want to marry you. I just want to embarrass you. But what I won't do is have some bastard's name. I won't have some bastard with my name. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this makes me so happy. I don't know quite what's going on in my mind 90% of the time. But I'm so glad that Richard's other name is Douglas's bastard. How dare Douglas's bastard have qualms about having a bastard of his own? Richard is sticking and moving more than anybody else on this show. It's more than land. Think about it. Cole is actually the most virginal one on this show. And Emma, technically. But you know what I'm saying? How many women has Richard been with? Every other time I've seen this man's chest more than I've seen Chase's. And Chase wears a V-neck 99.1000% of the time. He got the nerve. No, I got a vasectomy. That's why you're so whorish. Okay, got it. Cassandra is just watching this. You can tell this is the first time she's seen this side of him. She didn't know this existed. But she's also hearing what he's saying. Okay, you don't want anything to do with me. I just can't believe the biggest bastard on the show had the nerve to not want a bastard. That's that internalized hate. You see what I be talking about? Just like Angela's internalized sexism. Cassandra is shocked, to say the least. She used to feel bad about the way she had to play Richard. She used to feel away, which is why she wrote the check. She came and humbled herself before him. But on that day, At that moment, she said, you know what? F it. I hate you, Richard. You're evil, and I don't want you anywhere near my baby. She continues to get dressed respectfully. She goes to slowly leave. And Richard calls out her name. It almost sounds tender. It's like, Cassandra. She turns around. Oh my God, he's back. Okay. He just had a moment. But then he says, my house key. Now, I learned something very interesting about Cassandra. Cassandra must have played college softball because homegirl has a freaking cannon on her. I also thought about it. She's the older sister of a younger brother, so she's probably had to throw baseballs and footballs with him on account of him not having a daddy. Baby girl's got a cannon. And I tell you what, Richard may or may not have had a vasectomy. If he hasn't, she almost gave him one. She heave-hosed the key. She almost took his kneecaps and his pingaling off. You heard the key hit the ground, but it could have very much been his bang-a-lang-lang-lang-lang-lang-lang. What a bastard. So something must have been dancing subconsciously in Richard's mind because he goes to have his annual or daily or weekly checkup. I certainly hope it's his weekly checkup. And he asked the doctor to do an impromptu sperm count. The dude's like, okay, cool. And I'm like, did he leave a sperm sample? Is that just, how would he know? They can't tell that from your blood, right? The doctor is just kind of like, yeah, okay. But he's not even really worried about that because this is the man who personally performed Richard's vasectomy. Meanwhile, in a far less classy part of town, down by the River Motel, Walker, a.k.a. Apollonia's ex, a.k.a. some sort of video super producer, allegedly let him tell it, skirts past the druggies at the motel and asks for his messages at the front desk. He's acting like he's at the frickin' Ritz-Carlton. He's been lying to Apollonia, presenting himself as this big, successful record producer. See, people, sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. This particular motel has a very strict policy, by the way, as far as the patrons go. You got to pay $20 in advance, no hot plates, no pets, and no loud music, and no refunds, most importantly. We know this because Lance followed Walker into the motel and pays the front desk guy for information on him. The front desk guy thinks he's another scuzz bucket who wants to come in and do a little bang yang yang for an hour or so. So he lets them know, okay, it's going to be $20 in advance, no hot plates, no pets, no loud music, and no refunds, my guy. Lance is like, okay, I don't have 20, but what about this crisp $50 bill? He pulls that out of his pocket, pops it twice, and hands it to the secretary of the Riverview Motel. All he wants to know is, I just want to know a little something about that scuzz bucket that just walked in there. Apparently, this man sings like a canary. It's pretty clear that Walker has been lying, and now Lance has the receipts. Walker told Apollonia and Lance that he's been at the Ritz, but he's been living at the Scuzz Bucket Inn. Lance is being petty, so he takes Apollonia to the Kick Dough, aka the Riverview Motel, and she proceeds to cuss out Walker. How are you? I can't believe you've been lying to me all this time. You've been lying about your success. He's like, girl, maybe I exaggerated. I wouldn't say I lied. Perhaps I exaggerated a little bit. But you know what? It don't matter if I lied or not because I poured into you. Your success is my success. Doesn't matter if I used to beat the crap out of you and I've been drunk for the last 3 years. You're successful now. You're going to pay me for all the things you didn't pay me for in the past. She obviously didn't have any money on her. So you know exactly what he wants. He wants the same thing that corn-fed Jed, aka Dwayne, wants. A warm woman. He proceeds to rough her up just a little bit and very easily tosses her onto the bed. Right about that time, one of the scariest things that I've ever witnessed in my life happens. Mind you, I've watched Lance Cumpson, aka Lorenzo Lamas, in The Renegade. I know this man can fight, and I've seen him fight on this show, but it's never quite crossed my mind the way it did on this episode. So picture this. It is a sleazy motel. Apollonia is dressed to the nines, about to get roughed up by a man revealing his chest, and he's got a 40s hairdo, whatever. Lance Cumpson, all 6'3" of him, enters the room, tells him to raise up off his woman. Walker, who lives in the very scathy little place, is not afraid of a good old fist fight. So he thinks he's going to swing on Lance, but Lance is 6'3". So I can't even, what does that mean? His legs are like I don't know, 4.5 feet long. This man kicks him in the head with an ease I haven't seen in many a years. Mind you, in my lifetime, I've had a couple feet to my head. You know what I'm saying? Not that I've been kicked in the head ever, but things happen on a trampoline. Things happen at the water park. You get down the slide a little too slow. The person coming in behind you is flying down. Yeah, I've had a foot to my head a time or two. It sucked real bad. I can't imagine someone aiming at my head with their boot with the velocity of at least like an e-bike, right? It's got to be going at least like 30 miles an hour. Kicks him right upside his head. Walker ain't no punk, though. He's from the mean streets of wherever he is, San Francisco. So he starts fighting back. Now, Lance is putting belt to ass quite easily, if I'm being honest. Walker says, you know what, enough of all that. He pulls out a knife. He ain't got time sometimes. When someone is bigger and stronger, you got to stick him. You got to stick him like a pig so you can get away. Lance quickly stomps this guy out. No big deal. Back at Falcon, Crest, Angela and the Manimal meet with Jordan's daddy about the Manimal's political career. It's kind of brief and non-eventful. More importantly, the Manimal and Jordan have this intimate conversation in front of the fire a little bit later on. They're discussing life and fine foods and what they like indulging in. This quickly turns into an even more intimate moment, a very deep kind of conversation, the kind where you don't really need words. Well, it almost turns into that sort of conversation. Jordan stops right before they can really rev it up. She says, oh my God, Manimal, I'm so sorry, Greg. You're so hot. I'm totally into this, but I just can't. It's not you. Please don't feel it away. It's me. I'm getting through some things mentally and physically. It has nothing to do with you. He doesn't necessarily get upset, but I think he feels a little miffed because they are being so intimate with their voices and their words. And he asks her, would you like to talk about it? She says no. So he picks up his things and he says, okay, it's clear that you're uncomfortable, so I'm just going to leave now. I don't know what's wrong, but I'd rather leave now than stay here and just spoil things forever, indicating that he does indeed care. I was really proud of him. Way to read the room, Manimal, because he definitely didn't read it earlier. So the next day, the Manimal shows up to check up on Jordan, who really did wake up like this. Her hair is 4 inches off of her forehead. They hug each other. I missed you. You missed me. She basically confesses that she was kind of afraid to be turned on by him, or she was afraid that he was going to either fall head over heels in love with her or reject her. There's no middle ground in her mind. But she's trying, so she lets him hug her from behind. She doesn't recoil from his touch. She even lets him kiss her from behind. Just as she's sort of melting into his embrace, really getting into the moment, he douses whatever fire was burning in her loins. He tells her that he spoke to her pappy, and her pappy gave him permission to run for lieutenant governor. He's pumped. She's turned off. This is the biggest ick for her. She tells him that, oh man, well, seems like there's only room for one JJ Roberts in your life. I know that for a fact. Okay, well, I got to go upstairs and finish getting ready. I was in the middle of teasing my hair. I'll talk to you later. Bye. It's an awkward exit. You got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you're in an uncomfortable situation. Sometimes you just got to get the hell out of there before you say something you regret. She said all she needed to say. Remember, this is a brilliant woman whose hair is very large because it's filled with secrets that she has no intention of sharing. So what are you going to do? This guy wants to be a political juggernaut. My dad is a political juggernaut. I'm not feeling my father. So unfortunately, by proxy, I'm not really feeling anybody who is feeling my father. I get her. Speaking of fathers, near the end of the episode, Richard's doctor, remember, Mr. I can do a sperm count through listening through your heart rate through a stethoscope? Yeah, he pops back on the screen. Hey, Richard. How you doing, brother? You look good. Your blood count is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. I'm actually sending it to Cedars-Sinai so that some intern can look over it, maybe turn it into a book. Baby, you've got some beautiful blood. Richard immediately smelled. Like, what do you need, doc? The doctor says, well, okay, so don't judge me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Soap Lore. Now, usually, back in the day, I would tell you that I would never add to a scene, but I really need to embellish this just a little bit. focus on the essence of it, okay? The doctor's basically like, Rich, this is so funny. You're gonna laugh about this. Do you remember that time you came to my office and you wanted a vasectomy? I thought you said protect-ish me is what I heard. I'd been out on a boat the night before. Actually, I'd been to a concert, so my hearing wasn't 100%. I thought you said protect-ish, as in don't do it fully. So I gave you a nip tuck, but I didn't tuck it very well. So Richard is like, wait a minute. So what are you saying? I thought I was shooting blanks. He's like, I mean, you sometimes, sorta. Basically, the doctor's like, did I perform a surgery? Yes. Did I go through the motions of a vasectomy? I did. Is it like 5-star? No. If this is 2026, this is maybe like a Temu vasectomy. What I'm saying is that you just never really know. And what I'm saying is that you do have a sperm count. What I'm saying is that I'm sorry that you have been out in these streets the way you have over the past years. I've watched season 4 through 1. I'm really, really sorry. Also, you weren't on season 1. I'm sorry. But yeah, dude, yeah. Richard's like, wait a minute. First and foremost, I'm going to sue the ish out of you. You better believe I'm going to own you by the time all this is done. You dirty, dirty bastard. Richard storms over to Cassandra's I don't know what I was going to say, address. To Cassandra's office, which has been completely wiped clean. And let me tell you, her office is cream, which is also one of the colors of this episode, and peach. And there is nary a speck of dust inside. They have vacuumed the carpets. She's removed all the paintings from the wall. Her desk is completely cleared off. She is gone, baby. She meant what she said. She got one crazy relative. She's not going to let her baby have one, okay? Packed up her teens and she left. Richard comes in there with a cane, cracks it over the back of the desk. And I said, you know what? That's exactly why she don't want you to be her baby daddy. You're too volatile. And you're going to piss her off. She's going to be sleep deprived, exhausted. Look over and you're drinking a glass of milk. It's just going to piss her off. This is for the best. Well, he cracks that cane over that desk and he vows to find Cassandra wherever she is in the world. And he will, because he found Leather Pants Pam. Also, where is my girl, Leather Pants Pam? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have entered the final couple of scenes of this episode. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the first time I went to Louisiana. There's something about it. Like, I know the water's filled with swamp, alligators and creatures I don't really mess with like that. But there is something enchanting about it. The first time I stepped out of the car in Louisiana, after the humidity beat the dog snot out of me, I couldn't help but feel, I don't know, this sort of undercurrent of something I couldn't quite put my finger on. It was beautiful. The way the trees sort of weeped and leaned over. The way everyone spoke really slowly. They're looking at you like they can't quite figure out if you're related. There's something just beneath the surface that pulls you in a way that you feel uncomfortable. Like when you step into a room and two people really attract you, you can almost feel it. There's something there. This is the chemistry I have been feeling between Melissa, Pastor Panty Droppers. Now, by profession, he shouldn't be. I mean, let's not say he shouldn't be. He obviously is going to be. He's a human being. But it is taboo in some ways if he were to indulge in this. So Pastor Panty Droppers is on one of his signature runs. It's his way of relaxing. He's got that runner's high. He steps in front of a swampy looking pond and says, you know what? 2 deers in a bucket. Time to take a dip in this here creek. He begins to disrobe. Now, baby has body. A natural man's body with hair all over his chest. I love that part of the 80s. So the camera pans out and you were probably 300 yards away from him as he begins to disrobe. Now, me growing up sort of in the country / desert, I know a small town. I know being in the middle of nowhere. This didn't feel like he was, but in his mind, he was. I know this guy grew up at an orphanage, but he still grew up in America. And it's like, anytime you're in a big stretch of land, you got to kind of wonder, does this belong to somebody? Does it feel like a natural park? I don't know what possessed him to take off his clothes, but he did. Okay, that's all I'm saying. He begins to disrobe. We are 300 yards away. Not to ruin the fantasy for all of you listening, but I could tell he was wearing yellow shorts, just like Gary's baby blue shorts, but his were yellow because Falcon Crest loves yellow. Anyway, he disrobes and he is pantomiming nudity. He jumps into this swampy pond and begins to gleefully swim around, just letting the water cool him off. He's got a heck of a workout. He's going to go have tacos or something later. It's going to be delicious, or some fried chicken or something. He done burned at least 2,000 calories. Right about this time, bad girl Melly Mel comes trotting up on her trusty steed. She too is in yellow, but she's also in black. And I don't know if she had been praying, but when she gets to the water, she smiles so big, like, oh my God, what a day. Oh, happy day. She quickly deduces that his clothes are outside the water. So that means he ain't got on nothing in that there water. She starts to tease him like, what's up, Christopher? And he's like, oh my God, Melissa, get out of here. She's like, I would love to. However, this is my property. So I think I'm just going to rest. I've been riding this horse. I'm exhausted. Why don't we just chatter, chit right here? And he's like, no, we can't do this. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's just like, okay, why is it wrong? We both feel the same way. What are you talking about? I won't talk to you like this. She's like, but you will, because you either have to come out or have to come in. It's one or the other. And he's like, you know what? Forget everything. Forget that I'm a priest. Forget that I am supposed to be a good guy. I'm also your counselor. That is so unethical. Shout out to him for reading the room and understanding the directions. He is not going to have a HIPAA violation on his conscience. Only it's 1986 and 1985. I'm not even sure if there is HIPAA violations at this point. And she's like, okay, well, cool. Why don't you just come on out and talk to me about it? She's starting to make him uncomfortable. He's like, Melissa, I can't. She's like, okay, cool. You won't come out, then I'll jump in. She goes to dive in this, let's say it's like 20 inches of water. She dives in. She wets up all her clothes, swims up on him. And baby, as a man is still a man, before you know it, they are in a warm embrace. And we know that at least one of them is in the nude. It's kind of hot. I'm not going to lie. Now, they don't say anything. They only imply, even though they were swimming in like sanitary water and it was really dirty and not there. I don't know. It was cute. I enjoyed it either way. It doesn't matter. Melissa climbs back on her horse in her wet clothes and decides it's time to go home. And I'm glad she did. Because right about the time she gets home, we hear Robin writhing and hooting and hollering in pain. She's on the floor and she's on her back. And she's pregnant. So it's not like she's a turtle. I don't really understand why she didn't have a little bit more dexterity, but apparently she had gone to reach for the telephone and it fell maybe 3 inches behind her. So the way her elbow was cocked, she couldn't reach for the phone and spit. Okay, I forgot to mention 1985, this is a rotary phone. So let me stop my judgment, okay? She could obviously reach for the phone, but could she flip that little wheel or whatever the heck you call it, the rotary? No, she couldn't. She had to wail in agony until someone heard her. So Melissa comes running up smelling like dead fish and a priest. And she's like, oh my God, Robin, what's wrong? Wrong. End scene. Way to go, Falcon Crest. Way to go. You got me hooked. You begin and you end with a bang. I am here for all of this. All right, guys, that's it. That's all. Join me next time as we jump back into another classic piece of vintage gold. Remember, you can reach out to me in the show notes. If you're listening on your mobile device, there is a link to send me a text. Send me a text or send me a voicemail. You might even hear yourself on the show. If you prefer doing things the new old-fashioned way, you can send me an email at soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. That's soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. In the meantime, in between time, there should be some sort of follow-up when you have a vasectomy. Can you not shoot a few blanks in a cup like you're at a carnival ride, see if you knock anything down? And if you do, the doctor owes you $40,000 or whatever it costs to do that. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on TV.